Você tem direito em casa. And now she will be doing our project overview. Thank you all. People welcome remarks and thank you all for coming and seeing this work that the fellows have done. I'm just going to give a brief overview of the project for those who are not familiar. As mentioned before, this is the second cohort. Our first cohort were our guinea pigs. We're about to test this project on because sometimes when you design a project, you're not always sure that it really is applicable and practical. And we really got to see from the first that needs to be done. And so we were excited to have feminists and to really train them with word. And so of the project and then kind of how the project works. So the goal is to influence Liberian government agenda on all issues related to gender equality. Everyone and every quality in Liberian space. Recruit young female activists who are already working in grassroots based feminist organizations who already have an interest in feminism. And then we enhance the capacity of feminist equality is. It's actually very beneficial to study the history of feminism, what it really we do, so that they're able to do research and feminist issues, and gender equality issues that need to be addressed through feminism, only from the actual work being done, but in our processes. So this is one way of sharing what we learned outside. And we will also be internally to think about through our process, what have we learned? How do we improve for the following cohort? Phase one is essentially training, although we do training throughout, but it's really close. Our fellows learn about feminism, peace building, advocacy, gender awareness, the history of feminism. They did basic writing, uh, analysis of writing, research methodology, gender data analysis. So, I know they were tired of it was very important for us to get these. Then we had at the beginning of this phase is really thinking about what young women in the space. They already know from the place a wonderful opportunity to them for them to find what were the causes and the consequences of these gender issues before they began their research process. Then we came up with our research questions, and then we developed our data collection processes. And then they went out into the field in two groups of three, as we'll soon learn, and did their data collection and bone counting. And then we did analysis, we did a matrix of findings in order to help us really come up with evidence-based recommendations. And then we entered the writing and editing phase. And they are still in the process of finalizing these papers, but they've come up with their preliminary findings, which we'll be hearing today. So this is the process, how the project works. And we're looking forward to hearing now from the fellows and seeing what they discovered and sharing with us their recommendations for the policy. So thank you so much.
Thank you for that. So now we would like to call Ms. Morris here, who's our communication specialist. And she has supported and provided guidance to our fellows during the research. To do the presentation of our fellows.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here. I think this whole idea of a feminist policy is very important for young women because we hear a lot about feminism and to put together a group of women who can brainstorm on different issues that affect them and their peers. And try to go into the field to do the research to support it. It's like a classroom. I feel like they're in a classroom. And I think a lot of the work that we do with them is new and intense. And sometimes they don't like the intensity of the scrutiny. But that's what they have to do. But we had 2 topics this year, and we focused on Bulk County. And so we'll be calling them up. First, I'll introduce them, and then they'll come up and do their presentation. So, when I call your name, please stand up and raise your hand. Miss Lucy Allison. Lucia Dolly.
Right here.
Denise Waji. Marlon Bonham. Miss and Rachel Mullen. So we're going to start off with the we'll take questions. Lucy. That's Lucy, and Mary.
Thank you so much for coming and joining our invitation to attend one. Our topic is safe beginnings and evaluation. I'm gonna guess the greatest choice in the organization called. Which is something you're a little bit. And going to our methodology
and then we'll share, there will be a time for us to interact, question and answer session. Evaluating maternal we're told to identify gender issues, we a lot of different spaces. Eventually, we decided to go into maternal health care. We did this because we want to use these are facilities that are designed of the different countries to help them, and if women who also have to these women. We also discovered area and bone cancers are not unique to Western world. They're in fact in Africa, and they have been proven to be a working phenomenon. We discovered that it's working in Ethiopia. It has led to a 25% reduction in maternal deaths. Also in Zambia, they have benefited from a 60% facility-based delivery increase. So we decided to come and do some sort of like a research in Liberia to see how these maternal waiting rooms are affecting the outcome of maternal and neonatal health in Liberia. We discovered in our background research, our Gex review, we discovered this research that was done across 9 African countries. And it showed us that even though maternal waiting rooms are proven to be working, there are still issues. Access quality health care or maternal health hygiene. So in this, we visited 7 towns in Bon County, which is showing on the board there. Sebe, Phoebe, Fokole, and Parala. And we talked to 38 persons.
families have little to no education. So imagine being in a very rural area, you're 7 hours away from the highest health facility in the county. You have no medication, you have an emergency situation. That cannot be good, especially if we're putting them in these facilities to aid them with safe deliveries. Another thing is the rotation of health practitioners in these facilities. Most of the maternal homes have one that rotates. So they don't have their own doctors, they don't have enough nurses there. So somebody just there, midwife is just in the maternal room, taking care of them, just talking to them, what to eat, how to get prepared for pregnancy, but there is no doctor to aid when there is emergency situations. Another finding, and this was a very surprising finding, is the normalization blind spot. And we call this normalization blind spot because most of the women that we spoke to within these facilities didn't think at first question that there was something wrong. We would ask them, how are you being treated here? How is this place? And the response was everything. It was only when we asked, okay, how's water? How's electricity? And they would go into non-explaining, oh, we get electricity, the other time, and the source the back, what over there is opposite. But then what water you have to walk in a village to go for water, enjoy, come and here to help us. You're not getting any help. These women, we have conditioned. They carry us of the future of the area to thinking that they deserve. No, that's just what we. Because they have no issue. They had no issue with that kind of treatment until we went into specific questions. Hello, everybody. So I was speaking on the policy recommendation, and what we recommend is food availability. And we say food availability, one of the say baby care measures strategy that a parent will have that one baby, have the father or the mother contribute or maybe more amount to prepare them, has the basic facilities. So maybe they can give $1, $100, $50, 50 cents. So you're able to prepare in order to have sufficient, and as well they can be able to reach the farmers that in those communities, so that they can be able to contribute, so that they can solve for those facilities. So it's able that involvement and have them have a cooperation. We also recommend the basic necessities. We also recommend. And we'll talk about the basic necessities. We'll talk about having access to safe drinking water, electricity, to comfortable beds, and those things that are needed in the beds. So, doing our statistics. So, to know that most of the facilities don't have access to basic water. And at 20 times for the house to go 1 hour, 20 times for the house to go 1 hour, water. So it don't us that what ensuring that they want to have water, ensuring they want to have food. What happens when they are going to get those water? What happens when they want to walk and so they have to cover distances in order to get those items. So what beneficiaries to be able to look at this. And we all know that the issue of electricity sort of has some sort of safety for everybody. So we're starting to know that in most of those facilities, the people do not have current. So they will provide this condition. So we have to cover distance. So what is the so we there's and we all know that the issue of electricity is provide some sort of safety for everyone. So when somebody has some sort of trigger, like asthma, pressure, they put those people at risk and needs to look at safety. This is an issue of urgency that everybody needs to collaborate and look at. Know that in most of those facilities, the people do not have current. So this and some of them will even complain that we are not late. Recommend to the ministry, the local stakeholders, townships, to be able to because now, put all of it has when it comes to lights, when it comes to other things that yes, and needs to look at safety. The accessibility should be townships to be able to collaborate aspects. During our survey, we realized my team and I, we have to cross 3 hours, 2 hours of facilities. Because now, put on a remedy, we realized some of the team and I get before we even access, to get home by, or maybe ambulances are facilities are like ambulances to take those pregnant women when there is an issue of urgency. How do they cope with this issue of urgency? How do they cope with those issues? Improve health services. So we want to recommend that the health services at those facilities having trained health workers to be able to do their work diligently and also be able to be diligent for rotational so that they can be able to know what they are doing so that they can be able to and as well be able to provide medications and much more things that are necessary that they can be able to cover when they are in those facilities. And we also want to say thank you to all of you for listening. And to conclude, we are concerned about the quality of care this is an issue of urgency, and we are critical stakeholders, we are present, working with teachers, partners, donors, to enable us to look at those issues and be able to improve the life today, and we are critical stakeholders. Yeah. Takers, donors, those issues, and be able to improve on the livelihood of women. Thank you, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. So, let's test the example. I'm the executive director for the Women Issues Secretary. Firstly, I want to thank the community's position for this reading program, and we thank you to the panels for the research proposal. My question, I don't know whether we have the issue of health here today. My question is concerning the location. How is the government identify location for the maternal home? Can I have a maternal situation for places? Yes. My question is here today. It was that already. The moving mother or the pregnant women, the unit of the mother, how was the uterus identified? How did it come to identify recommendation for the maternal group? Is it modern or does the not identify, how did they come to identify?
So, councillors, everyone,
So they
president work, also,
there's a staff there. Okay. I'm a member of the technical working group.
Okay.
References for feminist for I was just reminded of my colleague here. So, very interesting, research. So to do research, you said you spoke to the
research.
with the content.
Doing research,
Some questions like, how are you providing, what's the
how I
budgetary
provide
allocation for
what's necessary allocation for these.
where you go, why were we
Where
there,
why were
necessary, for safety
necessary,
mechanisms. Also,
positive mechanisms.
maybe we like the yes of responsibility, if not.
Maybe we like the yes of responsibility,
About
how
how
they
they
provide
provide
them,
things
about how they
they
provide
told us that they can really work.
They told us that we can.
So they are not
So we are not getting involved to be able to. So I think 2 days prior to when we got there to interview, they had different addresses to these interviews, not all of them, because we didn't have enough funds to carry that out. Good morning, my name is Vito, and sitting from my all I need to have.
Okay, I just want to thank all of you for this splendid research. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of how it was, the fact that you to shine a spotlight on this issue is what for me. I just want to recommend to the Gbowee Peace Foundation to keep doing this. And to say, I hope, this initiative, extend to other universities, out of Ethiopia, and other places, but this is a great opportunity for young women. That many universities graduating from university even know how to do research, project having for ChatGPT. But this is work for me. You're able to go to the site yourself, see, learning about feminism. I want to thank the Policy Life most of all the Peace Foundation. And I hope the stakeholders that are here, those that are not here, that are cognizant of these issues that you have raised, will be able to work. Thank you.
Is what for me. I just want to recommend to the Gbowee Peace Foundation, the academics. And I'm hearing that most of the participants maybe know how to approach to addressing some of the things that I identified that the local government and the county health team
who use this information to target some of the county development funding at the county level to address this. Because in most instances, the national level may not directly want to address some of these things because they try to look for other bigger interventions to do that. But these ones would be something that the local council leadership, the county council, and so forth will be able to redirect some of the development fundings to these significant findings or challenges with the maternal homes. I heard some people asking about why maternal homes were built in places like that. I just try to provide some background information to it as someone who been working in a space and opportunity to why these decisions were made. The idea behind the maternal waiting home is to prevent women coming to the hospital late and they find out we do not have hospitals around the country or health facility everywhere. So the idea was that we have a place that that help the hospital sooner, but they are kept safe, particularly women that are at risk, because here in Liberia we have encouraged to come. These foreign challenges are very there. The ministry knows that they need to, but there's not a sustainable way that have been identified. You see, think
Thank you everyone for your questions, and thank you girls for splendid presentation. And we have all of your emails and we'll send you the final report. So last but not least.
It's a pleasure being here and we are so excited that today we will be able to share with you our projects. We are here today to give you testimonies on the keyboard strength, data collection writing, and algorithm editing. And for the cleaning aspect, we are posted and focusing on feminism, almost any feminism as the advocacy for the rights and equality of women, which also aim at enhancing our political or social well-being, and also balancing the equation between genders, between men and women, understanding gender roles in the society, what the role of women, what's the role of a woman, and what's the role of a man as well. We have also been able to research and analysis. We were opportune to portray by the institutional review board where we gain certificate and also authorized to push forward with this training for which we are here today. We have identification of gender issue. In our time, we had the opportunity to visit one county where we met with stakeholders, community leaders, and other citizens of the county. Through those meetings, we were able to gather a lot of issues affecting women in Brown County and in the country at large. This second time, we've been working on formulating research questions, data collection. We've been working on our policy papers, and today we can say that we have gone far, that we have not reached the lesson learned. Summit is a plus, it's a privilege for all of us, and we want to say thank you for coming, and you are also welcome. After visiting Brown County and concerning several issues women face. We selected this particular topic concerning the impact of unsafe abortion on women's health for case study in Port County. Because unsafe abortion is one of the critical issues women face and it impacts women's health and social well-being. And we decided that this topic is going to increase because due to unsafe abortion, it has led to maternal mortality and morbidity in the country, and Port County is of no exception. Before we begin, my name is Rachel Mobile, candidate from Quantum University with a Bachelor of Science degree in biology, and this is my colleague.
I am Denise Gbowee, a graduate of the Adventist University of West Africa, majoring in biology in minor chemistry.
And my name is Lucia Dolly.
Here, who happens to be our group leader. She's not here. She went
Can you hear me?
from a program
Hello?
in the United States. Also with us.
Hello?
Also, she's Lucia Dolly, and graduate of Gpfa Future IT Science from the University in Florida.
I don't think they're hearing you.
Can you hear me? Hello?
In our rural areas in Liberia, I suffer mostly from maternal mortality rates. And this maternal mortality has mostly been resulted due to the unsafe abortion practices. Now, in Liberia, currently there is strict law and stigmas that prevent women of reproductive age from accessing safe abortion and post-abortion care. Public health law of Liberia for purposes. So, for now, abortion is illegal in Liberia. And it couldn't be done based on certain conditions, and these conditions are how the fetus was raped, and you don't want to be kept with the pregnancy because of the stigma and discrimination, or incest, that is, or father impregnated his daughter, and due to that, the stigma of a child in the community, it won't be so okay. So because of that, it can be allowed to undergo abortion in the hospital. Moreover, issue of pregnant woman is sick, and the possibility of bringing forth a child will also pose a great risk to the life of the mother. So because of that, it will be allowed to be in the hospital by a doctor or physician has been issued or lesson. But apart from those conditions, abortion has been illegal for now. Now, there's this newly proposed reform which has been passed through the House of Representatives is currently being debated in the House of Senate. And this must seek to reform the current abortion regulation by allowing legal abortion up to 18 weeks of pregnancy when it is being conducted by a doctor and is being licensed. Total abortion, which is an intimidation of pregnancy or internal pregnancy, are comprising and does not have the necessary skill or a condition that does not continue to medical policy. So if this is being told, if abortion is not legalized, we see a lot of people out there going about doing unsafe abortion because in the hospital, you're not allowed as a free role, your health, everything is okay to just walk and go and see who do abortion. Because of that, I found most women out there have unsafe abortion practices. What they usually say is, I will check what's doing. Anything I do, I go to the hospital, they won't deny me. Based on our research, we've heard from a lot of people, women, in our studies, we heard from them that at times they use cassava sticks. At times they mash glass bottles, swallow it, to kill the child. And when the situation get worse, they are taken to the hospital. And all they say, hospital will deny them because they feel that that's the only way they can do the abortion because they are not given a free will to walk on it. And because of that, really rights this step on because they are not getting the right to decide on their own reproductive health and how they will do their life. They are pregnant in their reproductive time. So because of that, you see the issue of maternal mortality and morbidity is still going to increase. Even when the government wants to try So coming out to the hospital, providing all synthetic material for the patient when they come. Maternal mortality still remains going to increase because you still have women out there and still carry out unsafe abortion practices. Now Liberia has one of the worst high maternal mortality rates. Just by all of these rates, maternal mortality, the tracking maternal mortality is still slow. Still is the chart. For maternal mortality death, number of births estimated in the year. In 1990, estimated 100,000.
Morning. Sure.
whatever means, so those the thoughts of the communities. Limited access to freedom. There was this time that we were, how we were on a back for an hour plus. So we reached that town, in majority of the towns that were distances from the hospitals, we reached those towns. The people come up with views as it relates to the maternal abortion. And one thing that they mentioned to us was they had no access to family planning within their communities. Because of the distances that they live from the road to their towns or from the hospitals to their towns. Another one we got to know is the stigma in this day and age. If a girl, a project in the community, or friends with their life at home, for parents, we have stigma in the community that they wouldn't even want to share that they had an abortion. And because of all those problems, they would prefer, they take out the pregnancy, whatever health rates, they will just be within to increases. And the high maternal mortality. Doctors, nurses, midwives told us on a daily basis they receive close to 6 cases of young women that have already been shot, rushed to the hospital, and died on arrival. Because they did it at home, they use the unsafe method at home. Once they reach the hospital facility, they wouldn't be rejected. So they would go wherever they can. In the process of doing those things, sometimes they lost a lot of blood to the die. The traditional chastisement. That's the part that really got us emotional on the field. This is the part that the elders told us once a lady is in the process of aborting and dies, there is a specific space for burial. They will not keep the person in a regular cemetery space. That's because they believe that the act is on top. The spirit of the person who is in the process of doing abortion, and the other spirit, the other dead people's spirit to meet. So they will bury the person, and their spirit is across the river. School dropout. We saw victims. We saw cases of young women because they don't have the choice to what the pregnancy happens. Or sometimes they are some of those women, they are afraid that if they tomorrow they will be tomorrow with their lives. People make us go to traditional herbs that they will take. So a lot of people there, they are school dropouts. And when we reach out to the doctors, the nurses, and midwives, they told us that some of the most common complications that they see on a daily basis if someone who has typical the pregnancy, the person will be bleeding, and there will be some organ damage because now they are using the method of the cassava stick, the method of the grass bottle. They are using some traditional herbs because they just want to get rid of those pregnancies. So they will reach to the hospital with damaged organs. And sometimes the smell is so far. When they go low, there's an infection. And if it is not handled immediately by those health practitioners, they lost the patient. They told us again that because of the infection, if it reaches to the stage that they have to say, one should go, the woman will obviously go. So there will be loss of home. And there's no way that particular patient will see the room. And the team told us, they also told us that
Now they are using the misoprostol. They will bleed, and sometimes they reach there. He said they even reach their deaths because they will be like, I can't wait at home. I will bleed. I will bleed. And once they are there, they will take it out. So those routine products are there, and they are not managed well, then death will come. So for the next couple of minutes, I will turn to my colleague, Mr. Dore, I will take us through.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? Hello? You can hear me, right?
They're trying to speak for you. On the volume there, then I'll switch off mine. So we'll have putting the volume on the tablet.
Malu, where?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello? You can hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good morning again. So while we were in the field, these are some of the recommendations that we got from our field work. So our policy recommendations, some of them was to advocate for policy reform to enhance access to safe and illegal abortion services, aligning with international standard and reproductive health. That was one of the recommendations that participant in the field gave to us. And then also to strengthen the family planning initiative. So in education, empower individual and knowledge resource to make informed decision about their reproductive health. Another recommendation was to develop community-based support programs, awareness campaign to combat the stigma and that foster to support environment for individuals seeking abortion care. Another recommendation was collaboration and community leaders, stakeholders, and challenge harmful traditional practices and promote respectful, dignified reproductive health and services. They also said that we should establish support system within educational institutions to assist young individuals facing unintended pregnancy seeking abortion services. So those are some of then when we went to Phoebe, they talk about having like an educational or a club where people like young girls can go to learn about, abortions and things like that. So having a club in schools where they can go to have those services provided to them. Another one was to implement a comprehensive maternal health policy focusing on preventing unsafe abortion practices and reducing maternal mortality rates, as well as prioritizing prevention and common complications through access to quality health services and post-abortion care for those in need. And then to conduct public education campaign, provide accurate information to promote cultural and understanding empathy towards abortion. And then it said that to expand counseling services to individual accessing abortion care, ensuring maternal health system and guidance throughout decision-making process. So followed by that, we came up with the conclusion that our policy paper is to advocate for the government to reform prioritizing women health and access to access to a safe abortion, and by acknowledging the complexity surrounding unintended pregnancy and then the terrible consequences of unsafe abortion, lawmakers to have opportunity to enact meaningful challenges that do not protect women's health, but also strengthen overall healthcare system in Liberia. And then to address issues is vital for future well-being of women and health and advancement of the public health in Liberia. So that was our conclusion. We want to advocate that lawmakers and those in power to prioritize women's health, especially when it comes to having safe abortion in Liberia. So now I'll pass it on to my teammate. And any questions? Thank you. Hello?
Or they take you to a hospital when they have rushed and the hospital in a very critical state. They don't just they wish the mess of proposal. So that on the data gave us on scenario one, he said it was this time about the video about pregnancy and the screen one they told us to show him what she did. And she put that in place and he went there, he is going, the only thing they could do was to warn the person because they don't have right to close somewhere and that doesn't marine facilities, tractors don't have that right. No, according to him, said tractors don't, but what they do, the thing and they do is what they are to be here, right? To ready to policy, take it to stakeholders and not makers so that the right things can be done. But when it's being done out there, tractors or non-makers, they don't have the right to impose facilities. What they want to do is to talk to them and ask them, if possible, put here in them and warn them, not to repeat that in for patient will never open up to tell us what it is in the process. Looking into the evidence of this research because I know they were really find hard to, understand how to go about the research and all of that. So I would just like to ask, because sometimes when you're doing these kinds of research, you build on you on existing data job because you look at what others have done and try to fill in the gap. I noticed about this other group is that we have just, especially recommendations. These are already things that have been said over and over in actual gaps when left out. Sorry, my interest is, are there abortions going on with the permit of the law in the county? Because abortions, and you stated, are not totally illegal. And you stated certain conditions. So when those conditions come to the hospital, are they performing abortions within the permit? And then what are new policies that provide for abortion in the absence of legislations? But I understand that Ministry of Health and other partners are going here, that when you see the vasoprostol and market and policies, to fill in the gaps that are in the law. And the public health law that you talked about, you talked about a new public health law. I think it would be fair to say in the recommendations, joint ongoing efforts, advocacy efforts, pass the public health law because they are already actors working or other stakeholders working around passage of that law. So I just want to say. What she was saying. Where somebody have a choice in the justice, and sometimes you have a listen, I want to just go to the building. And it was so far, I saw this girl, sorry, the person I was listening to, go have this, and the God that was listening, you will take this, and take this, you take this, you take this. And according to your research, we know that abortion, we have 2 or 3 reasons why people do abortion like so if these pills are in the drugstore, like you can go to the drugstore and take these pills for abortion. Can you recommend another way that we give that in people?
Send to a party question on this entire advocacy initiative showing that it was passed in the law. For our information, the public health law by Europe, just like with the field was enacted as a public health safety law from 1950. In 1956, it was enacted and it was re-enacted as like the one of the Liberian war. So 20 years later, the law was revised in 1976 as the public health law that the law revised. Fast forward in 2022, the law was passed the draft of the health bill that's currently passed. Like we said it on the first. At least currently under review. Stakeholders of course are series of submissions. And what we need to do as a recommendation to ensure that this also become a roadmap for our intervention as CSO actors to ensure that we leverage on the funding, the research funding, because I kid you not, whether you have restrictive laws in Europe or not, there will always be incidences of the safe washroom. Of course, women and girls, are already some of them, and you see the Arabic level, Passama state, and other traditional methods. So whether you pass, anti-abortion, whether we have anti-abortion apologists, or whether the law is liberalized, there will always be incidences of abortion. So the issue of the things is so clear one comprehensive research findings, and as well as ensuring that the laws in our country or the law is liberalized to enable women to have access to safe and legal abortion services.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Oliver, and this is a very critical topic that we are discussing. I'm so glad that the foundation, along with the federals, are able to take on this initiative. I'm a women human rights fellow, and I'm also the founder of Women in Agriculture, because I'm clinical development. I work in rural communities, and I've seen a lot of these things. So coming back to the research, taken from my colleague Pedro, I just want to bring us back to the critical component of the research. I didn't really see how many persons, took part in the interacted with during your session, and then also the data trend you started with is somehow like there's a 10-year gap, the one you provided looks somehow old because I think it's around 2015. So I was curious to know that what is happening now, what is the current statistics, and even in those places visited, then how many cases are coming on a daily basis. Then the gender, those sort of statistics is something that I would hope into, but it's a good starting and look forward to more of these kinds of work. Thank you. And I think this issue is critical for us moving forward as women. And so thank you for providing it. Coming back to the basis, I think you're referring more to unsafe abortions. And the reason, as you have shown in your research, one of the reasons being the reality of this. And so even though whether or not there is a broad law, any sort of restriction is what I'm hearing from you. The restriction aspect in our current law is affecting and is one of the reasons as to why we have an increase in unsafe abortions. And so because of that, I think it's important for us here, especially women here,
for us to be cognizant and look at what they're saying regarding advocacy for this law to be brought, because if the legality aspect or illegality aspect is not an issue here, then we wouldn't be able to go directly into the hospitals. But they are unable to do that because of all prevents them from doing this. And so it's incumbent upon us as women to advocate in broadening those laws so that less women will have to be behind the house against our states, taking bottles or going into a pharmacy with someone who doesn't even know their particular situation. So this is very impactful. Thank you very much. And I think we have a lot of work to do here as a new one. Once again, young lady, we say a big thank you to you. The reason it's important to raise these issues, when you look at these issues from a human rights perspective, I probably the Independent National Commission was invited and they're not here, but it's important for them to be involved, to be involved, because someone advocating for the rights of women as part of the feminist approach. So we will be able to make reference. Of course, the issue of gender is here, because they are leading, this human rights issues when it comes to that one, general human rights, where we are looking at the international instruments that Nigeria has ratified, and also looking into our own national laws, which may need some condemnations. So, for example, related to the CEDAW, writing reports on the CEDAW. So these are the issues that are raised. We can also catch up on the issue of gender and also by the International Commission human rights, so that they can be well situated in our different posts, especially where we are not going to review this year for the Universal Periodic Review, and also making all of our reports. We see our articles 14 and also 16. Although the Universal Commission human rights does not capture the specific issues around reproductive health and rights, but they see that in the protocol. So I would recommend that where the research is on the surface, it's still very important information, so important that we must be able to share and call attention to this kind of work, by the Independent National Commission on Human Rights, call attention to them from the Independent National Commission on Human Rights. And also, the Ministry of Gender should take notes. Let's work along with them. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation and case study. And you guys put a lot of effort into this, but trying to give us a little feedback as well to the team, because the team is also a learning experience, but I find that this is a learning summit. The data I have on the also for the here in Liberia, most of our health data is collected every 5 years. It has the laboratory of solving. It is the most authoritative data source for data in Liberia. Please, because I see we're referencing another data source that does very correlate with the current reality as well. Yeah, so that's takes on the two. We came to the 742, and we have a new one that should be happening soon. So the 2015 data there, I have a serious issue with that. And you put in research center, I said to that source, I also have issue with that. So just for you. But the fact that this is also case study, where actual process of this remain
they have some quotation from them in your presentation, because I saw example, if you have come in quotation for exactly what the people that were in focus you, what were the quotes based on the quotes, and that is for the fact that there are a lot of research around this, and there's not actually a very new evidence that's being generated with this. So I just say that in a very, that sure, please ensure to get those voices, or if you already recorded them, go back to have them. Thanks a lot. And also for people also to see the age range the focus discussion, the communities or districts you say were added on to the town. What is the actual population of those?
Thank you, now, thank you to the, for this, research. And, I'll start with you. Highlights the importance of data collection in Nigeria. That's the recent and important current data we have. It's 7.5. And if you look at current, rate, it's the opportunity so I think they're showing we that one in also around that very great and we want to have the capital allocation, the carry expectation for the first CP pass. Sometimes they have of data because get personal facility. I don't have a pass, but in qualify qualitative design direction. What my back is in around the public. I think it's for a matter of yes, I kind of this is about how we consider it out and when it's not being a case of this, you want to know that in I'm reading all this what we have law and I don't want to think that what they have law is not because of chapter for now, chapter but it's on us that actually about maternal mortality comprehensive people that they have here, but because this day here. The current laws in Nigeria state that a woman can self-abortion of the of complicated abortion services within our community and see abortion care services and the healthcare provider that will be penalized under the law. We have two medical doctors that will sign. And God knows that we have more 200 patients for one medical doctor to be able to sign the form for the process. So we need to put the human into our advocacy and put that abortion rate. And it will also help for us to accurate data to push back against the black letters that the community like birds, women, with 6, 7, 7 months, but if a woman don't want to break the restriction, understand. So the healthy choices that you have to make and eat them. So like that research that you will have something on the reference. It's scripting, I will have a lot of research on here on the reference on the right. This is like so many, this is what the plan was done. So thank you. Thank you all for your questions. Just want to show you that some of your comments will be reflected in the time report. This is the first time on this level of research. So thanks for contributing to enhancing their skills as they continue to do this work. Girls, thank you so much for this information. We're still looking for the final products, and best of luck to all of you. You know, people in the audience who have some questions and would like to pose up. So if there's anyone who would like to say something, you know, like make a brief remark about this day, please raise your hand. All right, say Brenda. I think everybody else, yeah, please come and say something. Right? Yeah, well, come on now. All right, come on. Follow by Brenda. Sorry. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I really didn't intend on speaking, but first let me say thank you to the young women who undertook these. Don't put a lot of emphasis on academic research or social research around these issues. And it also helps us to try and feel data issue that was raised is not unique to this research. I think it's something that we really have to work on because data is technically people and it's intended to inform policy making, decision making, law making, and if we're in something to have a problem because we're not accurately assessing the situation and as such will not be able to accurately provide solutions in situations or will we provide solutions for issues that reflect 10 years ago rather than the actual situation that's today. So I think it requires collective effort doing that. And I want to thank all of you for bringing the foundation to carry out this much needed. From the legal standpoint, I guess that's lawyers mostly into
abortion and abortion, the legality of abortion. It's very serious because I wouldn't be able to speak directly to the data, but I don't think we have a lot of persecution for women. But that is also what I believe is leading to look at these steps that are not being captured and people doing this behind house or safe conditions. So I think criminalizing abortion personally for me as a lawyer, I think it's something that we do need to change and look at in terms of what our decisions are. Not. And I think it's important that those things are reflected in the policies and the laws that are made. So these kinds of conversations and research take on these issues. As we continue to move forward and as one of those investigations. So thank you for having me today. Very much.
I think, thank you to the young ladies who did the research, I think it's data influences, or should influence the kind of policies we have. Data should influence how we do budgeting. Data helps influence, development. And like we have a system recognition, we have a data problem. It's not just what we have to for who the sector everywhere, most of the education sector. Data is an issue. So it's good to see, intentional efforts around collecting data, sensitive issues that are not, popular opinion, different is. The other thing out of this also for me, kind of this is that these young ladies have gone through a lot of people, a lot of activities in developing this. And so as people are moving into different spaces, it also helps you to really kind of how others have been doing, whether it's see the culture or just access. And even in this feminism, because most times when we're feminism, we think it's just about fighting, being about people, but it's more than it is about equity, equality, and having a society that's suitable for everyone. So there's a whole conversation, always pushing conversation, feminism, delving into the topic that is right there. Thank you.
Well, already spoken with education. So I will try to be very succinct in a way. But thank you, ladies, young ladies, for putting yourselves out there to even have or be a part of the research and not just the entire program, but a topic that you took on is not a popular one, as Brenda said, it's not a familiar one, and easy one to have in the Gbowee industry, in the communities and the stakeholders to talk about it. So just by agreeing, making progress around advocacy for human rights, public health, SRHR issues. So it's very important. The final report that has been mentioned, we added to other the efforts to be used for advocacy because when the conversation started publicly around abortion, safe abortion, access to abortion, we didn't have data that we could put our hands to use. And the Amplifying Rights Network, which is the military-based network that's working on SRHR issues, have fostered the conversation
research on Gbowee. Added onto it that we have at least data counting or region, right? Would be helpful in terms of the advocacy work, because we talk about abortion is like a taboo. Even in the spaces where policies because the conversation there becomes very challenging. And it's one that people make decisions about, we talk about it when the United Abortion is a public health issue as that based on the findings and our experience in the work that we do with young people in the community. So they not emphasize the importance of this research, young people, young women who is going to the community fund who are the brunt of not having access to abortion or the way the law is tailored and prevent access to abortion, or whether it's to you and for us to know now that there's been a lot of costs, they don't know cost, there's going to be impacts on institutions, civil society organizations that providing SRHR services, that abortion for the medication that we to take as the only option because it's the right to be decision as to whether you're pregnancy or not. So all of those cases are challenged and it's also to raise our voices even louder. The such documentation or report is ready for us in this whole conversation. Charlie, can you raise us a few words? Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Let me first apologize for coming in late. This also all of this, your great research. Another researcher, by the way, a politician. That's on policy. And the two things that were also profound, the short period, Rega was there, that the issue has become more and also been dirty for right now. So for me, more than anything, conversations are important. So I want to thank you for the work that allows us to have open and long conversation. Because when we talk about these topics, issues and the issues that are involved, those who have called them enemies. So we see progress, so we see leadership. When they become familiar with these words, when the conversations are happening, we're very vibrant. Then we need to move forward, to break down barriers. We can destroy our enemies. So I thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so sorry you don't have a great life. I applaud your work. And thank you. Thank you so much. Again and again, I will say thank you for honoring our invitation and rightfully the especially for this reason was very important to us. Those issues we have back and what is really this not how you would work with this is how work is sharing also for doing in comments or doing it a lot of course I share with everyone because in as much as we do the research we also do for advocacy and for impacts. So going forward, yeah, going to pour our strong And again, sorry, we did not recognize our assistant minister for gender. Assistant
Minister.
Sir, from Ministry of Gender, and now we'll call on her for a remark. Sorry about that. A very special remark.
Sitting listening, I kept reflecting on one famous TED talk from a Nigerian author titled "We Should All Be Feminists." Whenever I'm in a very tough situation, I feel like I need to share some information and try to my audience now. I always play that TED talk. And then right after that, everybody will be like, oh, you know, that's cool. I'm feminist, so maybe I never really had the time to reflect on the word. And just to piggyback on what my sisters have said, you know, the society is so patriarchal in a way, or so nuanced that, you know, when you hear the word feminism, we start to think about all sorts of, you know, the counselor said, sounds like a dirty word. And I think in essence, I see it as a social movement. And I'm really glad that the fellows were able to really pick up some critical topics. There's currently a perception survey around abortion. And honestly, when they reached out to my office, I was like, well, I'm not sure I want us to talk about this, you know, let's hold it up for a little while. But these are topics that we tend to shy away from either because of socialization or, you know, all the different norms that influence the way we think and view things. And I think it's high time that all of us, you know, get out of our little boxes and really see these different social issues as very critical issues, and they're very important to our nation's growth and overall development. I also just like to quickly say that maybe in the future, the Ministry of Gender rather will be interested in working with the fellows to identify some of the gender issues or the gender topics, so that we can also use that in our advocacy as well. But we look forward to working with you. This is our first time engaging activists in the whole. Really are open to working with you, making sure that we're raising more feminists and we're pushing the gender agenda in Nigeria. Thank you all so much for having us.
Microphones off. Microphones off. Ruben.
Thank you all so much for your engagement, your interaction, your questions, your comments. As mentioned before, this was definitely we wanted to make it a lesson learned, something that experience.
I'm going back. I'm in a program and I'm raising my hand.
Yeah. So I want to thank you also for your feedback, taking notes. I know the fellows are also taking notes. Some of them will be able to address in the revised papers. I mentioned was purposive, right? So it's within a certain scope. We know the reality of doing work and research in the field of Nigeria is challenging with the limited budget. So they have a limited scope. address everything and research everything, but they did the best that they could within the limited time and resources that they had. But we definitely thank you for your engagement, your feedback, and your comments. And also for your special remarks. I think it's important for the fellows to hear professionals already working in these various areas to advocate for the laws, right? So we say how it's important, how research is important. And I know this has been a very challenging time for you all, but you get to see and witness and hear firsthand professional women telling you that they're going to use your research to advocate for gender equality. So you should be very proud of the work that you've done. It's not over. It's not over, because when I message on after this lesson next Sunday to see the state of those revised papers, I know they will be responsive. We have to land the plane all the way to completion. So please do, let's continue the work. Let's complete, let's make the papers really strong so that we can share them proudly with all the stakeholders here, and really help to push and advocate in certain areas that we know are important. So thank you all so much for coming and continue to network discuss it. Thank you all so much.
Again, thank you for back emails and call at all hours, and somebody said the video people in the video present. So I'm going to say thank you. That is lunch already served. So we can all go back there to have lunch. Thank you for coming.
And for all. Thank you all for joining. We'll gladly end this now, and we'll continue the interactions. And for those of us that are online, I see we have your email address, so we'll share this with you. Jay, if you could just kindly drop your email address in the chat, we can pick it up from there. We can add you to our attendance list, please. Before I log out, you can just please send us your email address. Hello, Mr. Bo. Yeah, sorry. I'm in this event facilitating it, so move from soon. This is Johnny Montgomery from Gbowee Foundation. That worker, and then you're making me wait 3 weeks for small light to be changed on it. When why he said the miracle you call me today, but you call my orange number. Yeah, but why you making us stay long like that before we do this thing? Which is funny. Yeah, I want to add it. That yesterday. But they told me they had filled in that claim form long ago with one Mr. Saki for your place there. I will can't leave that car there with you. You're changing that light today because I went to United Motors. They gave me invoice for the light for $90. You're changing it today. All right, thank you. Yukon J, please help me with your organization. So I'm physically writing your information on the attendance list we have here, and it says name. I've written that already. Wonderful, beautiful Yukon J. Noyu Bashu. I have the email address. I'll just need your organization and your contact number, please. So kindly type that in the chat for me. Sorry, I'm holding you longer on this. So I got an email address, ybashu@gmail.com. Could you please help me with your organization and your contact number, please? Okay, so I got it. So making our children. Where are Jackie? My Jack was stand to the back of the picture. So what have you in Orema? Okay, so it's making our children safe again. You all spell your again in the organization, please. I just want to make sure. So it's Mopsa F. Okay. And then 088-657-909057. Okay, perfect. So thank you so much, Chukwunje, for joining our meeting. We've noted it down and we'll definitely share things to you via email. Thank you so much again, and I'm ending this meeting for all. Thank you. Jesse, and I would know to end it for all. All right, so I ended the meeting for all.